This is like cold time. This means no skateboarding. I just always have sort of, not loved.
We're talking about skateboarding. You're a country club guy now. I mean, you and Brian Atlas are just sellouts. Yeah. Would you ever think skateboarding in Akron, Ohio, that you would be at a country club in LA playing tennis? I mean, peak sellout.
Peak. I mean, it doesn't really get any bigger than this.
I mean, that is like, you would have punched yourself in the face.
All day. I would have been skating in the parking lot, mad that they were telling me to leave, and then ran my skateboard into my adult shins.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Group Chat. It's the end of the week. We're going to end you off strong. We're going to let you know everything you need to know to go into your social gatherings this week looking like a genius.
All right. I like that.
There's a lot going on. A lot of business news, a lot of stock market stuff, a lot of earnings. Shopify, Amazon, Meta, Apple. We're talking about all of them. Elon is in the Twitter headquarters. We're talking about that. We got some more Kanye news, unfortunately, because it's not looking good. We have an interview with our guy Mo from Ledger.
Yeah, that's a great one.
We got winners, losers content. We got many other topics. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to end you off strong.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, Dee.
Hey, Drama.
Happy end of the week.
Oh, yeah. Halloween
end of the
weekend.
Week pod. Halloween weekend. Getting real spooky.
Big.
Are you taking the kids out?
We, our street has like a little block party for the kids Sunday afternoon.
Nice.
But that's during the day. So we'll do
they
that.
Have costumes picked out?
Dominic will not conform to costume wearing. And Miles, we'll just toss him in something.
Yeah, he's still in that tossable age.
Yeah, he's a tossable age. He'll just do whatever.
Dom's just not feeling it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he likes Halloween. Like, our house is completely decorated inside with like spiders and bats and crazy things. But we have pumpkins. He's into Halloween. He's just, I think he's like me. Costumes are stupid.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like when Halloween, I was younger, I loved costumes. Now I think they're stupid. I
mean, Halloween for adults, like, I get it. Like, if you're young and you're going out and partying and whatever, like, it's fun. But once you're out of that phase... Not
in Hollywood. I will say Hollywood is probably where Halloween survives the longest. At least when it comes to adults wearing stupid costumes.
Yeah. People will wear stupid costumes till you're,
I mean, the streets are probably littered with 40-year-olds this weekend in stupid costumes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, 40-year-old is, in LA is like 28.
Yeah, that's
in any
nothing.
Other city.
They're fully dressed up. I got a question for you. What if you had to guess, what is the most popular costume this year? Nazi Kanye?
Oh, I didn't think that. I was going to go just Top Gun or Jeffrey Dahmer.
Top Gun, yeah. I didn't think about Top Gun.
I feel like that just happened.
Yeah, Dahmer's hot right now.
Dahmer's hot. What is the Dahmer costume? Like orange jumpsuit, glasses?
Big glasses, comb over. Just creepy dude.
I saw these on Twitter today of like costumes, and it's just like real estate agent, and then it gives you all the qualifications. I
love it. Like shitty VC.
That's like, a really comes good with vest. Barry's boot camp. Yeah.
It's so good.
I thought, people are clever.
So at your now adult, we've had some really fun Halloweens.
Mm-hmm.
Now family D. Do you look forward to Halloween weekend? Does it feel like a little bit of a chore?
I don't mind it. I mean, look, if the kids are into it and engaged, then like I'm down. Anything they're into, I'm down to go do and be a part of it.
Yeah.
But if they're not into it, then I have no interest. Then it's rough. It's like having to do something, I think, is tough. But they're into the idea of it, and they've gone to like 2 pumpkin patches and all kinds of things. Like they're actually they've been to 3 pumpkin patches, like all over Southern California.
Wow.
And so
big pumpkin guys.
Yeah, big pumpkin guys. And so I think generally speaking, they're super engaged into it. I just, it's just too much. There's so many things, that you have to now, like it was just Diwali. Now it's Halloween. Then, it's Thanksgiving time. Then you have Christmas.
Yeah.
And then it's,
I know. I got to be honest, not to be grinchy. I just do not like this time of year.
And you have the light change, which is stupid.
There's like so many things you got to do. It gets you out of your normal routine. The light change is coming up quickly.
What are you worried? You're playing some nighttime tennis tonight.
I can't wait. This is the last. This is my last run of normal schedule.
Why? You can play tennis at night, don't they?
Well, I'm just saying, like once you get into holidays, I got to go to Ohio. I got to go to probably for Thanksgiving. Tennessee. You're just like it's just not like the normal flow for a little bit. I'm gonna miss some gym appointments. I'm just gonna be out of the mix, and it's gonna be dark at 5 p.m. Whatever. Let me complain. Look, I think that I'm also conditioned because in Ohio, this is like cold time. This means no skateboarding. I just always have sort of, not loved.
We're talking about skateboarding. You're a country club guy now. I mean, you and Brian Atlas are just sellouts. Yeah. Would you ever think skateboarding in Akron, Ohio, that you would be at a country club in LA playing tennis? I mean, peak sellout.
Peak. I mean, it doesn't really get any bigger than this.
I mean, that is like, you would have punched yourself in the face.
All day. I would have been skating in the parking lot, mad that they were telling me to leave, and then ran my skateboard into my adult shins.
Yeah, just be like, who's the...
I'm like, fuck you stuck up bitch.
Yeah.
Little Beverly Hills bitch. You don't know what it's like in the streets. Yeah. Well, hey, some call it the American dream. I don't know.
And what's funny is your crew in these waspy sports are all skateboarders.
Dirtbags, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. The reformed dirtbags. But hey, you can't tell. If you were just walking through the country club, we look like any of the other douches walking through. You can't even tell. We wear belts, polos.
Your shirt's tucked in?
Tucked in.
Wow. And are tats out, or are you wearing long sleeves?
Tats are out. That's the only giveaway. And I've definitely gotten some looks.
Yeah. Like, what's up with the riffraff now?
What's up with the gang members?
Yeah. What's up with the gang members at the clubhouse?
Skinny white dude, but you have tattoos. It's like, oh, what gang are you in, buddy? Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, hey, I mean, somehow in our group chat this morning, Anand somehow didn't realize after all this talking about it that I was a country club guy, and he was mind blown. This is me now, You guys met me right at the edge when I was still pretty Ohio.
Yeah.
I remember actually very vividly, there was a time when we had a Young and Reckless prom at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and you got on stage and your speech was, this guy's a hillbilly from Ohio. He shouldn't even be in this place. And now we rented out the ballroom. And now I'm a country club guy. Okay, let's talk about all things. I mean, I think we should just go like all things kind of stock market business. What do you think?
Yeah. There's a lot going on here.
Okay, so number one, stock market for the last few days is ripping. So I'd say the good times are back.
Some would say that.
We're all green. We got some earnings coming in. GDP's looking good. Let's start with GDP. So GDP accelerated 2.6% in Q3.
Which is not good from the Federal Reserve standpoint, right? Like, they want us to shrink. The estimate was 2.3%. The main reason why it rose is a narrowing in the trade deficit and increase in consumer spending. So, and government kind of spending also boosted the number. But there's a sharp pullback in housing and the decline in private investment. So, I mean, maybe there's something to extract from there that's good. I don't know. But, consumer is still spending. Which
is shocking because, like, wait on what?
Yeah, and it's crazy because and we'll get into Amazon's earnings and all of that. But like, man, I'm just completely shocked that the GDP grew. I guess the trade deficit is really drove it. But like, Federal Reserve is looking at this data and they just want to see pain. Yeah. And I don't know if it sounds like even from Visa reported their earnings the other day and they were saying the consumer is spending. Like, it is strong.
It just feels like fake news. It's like, what are they spending? I mean, I don't know. Nothing makes sense in this world. And I also feel like, to a degree, kind of what you're saying, like this 2.6 better than expected GDP might actually be bad because it might cause some more aggressive rate stuff. But at the same time, this market's up. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what to make of any of it.
Well, I think I would say the big kind of news that just came out is Amazon shares are plunging nearly 20% in after hours right now. Yeah. Basically because they are predicting a very weak fourth quarter. And that's in their e-commerce business and in their cloud business. Yeah. And so that should tell you that there is softening in consumer spend and business spend. And that's it's affecting the biggest companies.
Like,
and
to me, those things don't add up. Like, if on one hand, Visa's saying spending's great, on the other hand, Amazon is expecting down because of what they're seeing. To me, those are two really big tellers, and they don't match.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if you saw Meta, Facebook stock today plunged 24%, and their main reason, what's interesting is their revenue and the advertising side of the business was actually better than expected. Still, it's a little bit of a decline, but it was still strong. And all of those metrics, daily active users modestly grew, and like, you know, their core business seemed relatively healthy, which I was shocked by that. But then this guy doubles, triples, quadruples down on the metaverse. Yeah. He's lost over $9 billion in the first 3 quarters of this year and said he's not stopping. He's actually going to increase spend next year. And so people are basically like, we have no faith in this guy to actually focus on what's going to actually move the needle. Because let's say even if the metaverse is real, you're not going to monetize that for years. So that basically means, and we already know what's happening with them with TikTok and now Be Real and all these other things, like to go drop another $12-15 billion a year, people are going to look at you crazy.
At what point does the conversation happen where someone pulls him aside and says, hey man, this has to stop? Like, you know, there's that famous story of Carl Icahn talking to Tim Cook and saying, here's what we need to do for Apple. And like, does that happen? Or is he just too,
his structure? The way his stock is structured, he has all the control and power. Tim Cook was a hired gun. He never started the company. Yeah. And Tim Cook's job from day one is like, basically don't derail the money train. Yeah. That's like your job. Your job is not to change the world. Like, Tim Cook is not there to innovate.
But don't you think, like, I mean, this feels like this is starting to feel like a little off the rails.
Yeah. And I think that's why the stock, I mean, is at a low from 2016. I was on the treadmill this morning and I was watching CNBC News. Jim Cramer has been, recommending the stock. And he literally was like, so like, he's like, I'm sorry. He like almost started crying. No. And like, it was like a whole thing. He's like, I got bamboozled by management. It's like an instant classic meme. It's hilarious. But like, you know, Facebook is a stock that is basically in every 401k in one way or the other. Yeah. You know, and to lose, 70% from its high. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
It feels a little unhinged. Like, you'd have to believe that there would start to be, I know no one can make him do anything. And you're right. It's very different from the Tim Cook situation. But like, don't you think he'll be getting some pretty serious letters of like,
Yeah,
hey
I
man,
mean-
you got to turn this shit around. Like, what are you?
Yeah, and that's the letter that came out on Sunday or Monday from Brad Gerstner, and then I think Bill Gurley also kind of echoed, and then it got picked up by all the big newspapers. But like those, so I guess the only argument could be is he's looking at his business. He's young. He's saying, I know that the current trajectory we are on over time will basically, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
And I think he realizes that. I think he knows he cannot beat TikTok. TikTok has so many unfair advantages, right? Like them being a Chinese company, they're not held to the same standards as he is.
Yeah.
So he's never going to win that battle. So he's like, I got to reinvent our company. I think these avatars or whatever it is going to work.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
To do like 40, 50 billion, 100 billion of revenue in the metaverse is going to take fucking 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's no proof at all. And the amount of money that you're going to have to make up is so much. And it just feels to me like, yeah, I agree. Like he can't really compete with TikTok and it's not as easy as just copying them. But man, it just feels like he was on a run for a little while there that was unstoppable. Like spotting Instagram, quote unquote, overpaying for it.
Yeah.
WhatsApp, like just, it was unbeatable. And, it's not like there's only room for one, like still the Facebook umbrella, even with TikTok in the mix, is so meaningful. And it just feels like they're kind of like not paying any attention to it. I mean, that experience is not getting any better. The ad experience is not getting any better. There's not any progress being visibly.
But and maybe to his point is Apple basically crushed his business between the US government not letting him acquire any businesses and Apple basically creating this like unbeatable way of targeting. Like he can't fix that problem ever. Yeah. He knows like he's dying a slow death. And so I kind of, if he's right, he's going to be rewarded, right? Like the stock will be up 10x from where it is today.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible that Anand, who was big bullish on Mark Zuckerberg. I
know. Funny, he hasn't been on any episodes
ever since. He's disappearing Jim Cramer.
Yeah, it's Homer back into the bush.
Yeah, exactly. And so Anand actually bought options on Meta, call options, thinking it was gonna just report great earnings
after our bullying.
Yeah, and he lost 99% in one day.
Oh my God, Anand. We bullied him into that too. Oh shit. It just doesn't feel to me like like figuring out shopping is like,
I can't believe they basically gave up on shopping.
Like I get it. Your ads are kind of fucked. Like if you went all in and spent $9 billion a fucking quarter or whatever on figuring out shopping, like it just feels to me, it feels ambitious, but it feels like to make sense. It just feels to me like there's so many lanes outside of starting a brand new business.
Yeah.
It's a whole new business.
And I think the big challenge I see is that there are so many interesting business, like going after shopping, right? Like how do you build tools to help businesses sell product? Like there's so many things you could have done. Like even search, like TikTok is going all in on search.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Instagram could have gone in on search, but like it's just not as good as it is on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like if he had just doubled down on his core product, like I think he would have been rewarded from a stock standpoint. Maybe he wouldn't have been rewarded personally. Like he would have been like,
Yeah. I also want to make a very bold, like sort of claim or whatever that I have zero info on is I think that the like election interference, Cambridge Analytica, Facebook is evil. I think that weighed on him.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was like, all right, fuck this. Like, I don't like what this has become. I don't like who I've become. I could reinvent myself over here.
I think you're right. I think, look, he's still young, so public perception still matters.
Yeah.
And I think, given what we don't know him, but we're just going surface level.
Yeah.
But when you watch The Social Network, it seemed like the kid was insecure.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not be? He's just in college.
But how could he be still? He's like top 5 most successful people, top 10 most successful people in history. What do you care at this point? Why do you have anything to prove? You won.
I just think I agree with you 100%. But I think when the way that the perception of Zuckerberg and Facebook was there for a little while, post Trump and all that stuff, is like, I don't know, that'd be hard to take, especially if you're young and you've kind of been like this golden child since college. And now all of a sudden you're like an evil, preying on people's secrets and getting Donald Trump elected. And I don't know, I think it'd be hard to swallow. I almost feel like he thinks like, oh, I can go redo this and be the king of the metaverse. And then I'll get all the accolades again. And we can just forget that ever happened. I don't know. I think the amount of successful people that are insecure would shock any of us if we really knew.
Do you think Elon Musk is insecure?
Yeah, but in ways, but not. No, I don't think like at the highest level.
I mean, when you think of I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I have no idea. I think guess
he thinks too binary to almost like let insecurity in too much. I mean, if you're hanging out topless, knowing there's paparazzi looking like that on that back of that boat,
that's what I'm saying.
You don't give a fuck.
Yes.
He knew there was cameras. He didn't fucking care.
And I think, I think the interesting thing is like, even, so just quickly jumping to that, Elon had posted a video yesterday on his Twitter, walking into the Twitter office with, it looks like a sink.
It's a sink because he said, let that sink in.
Yeah, let that sink in, which, that's funny, like whatever.
Funny, yeah.
And so there was a picture of him talking to staff members today. And I could, I zoomed in on a lot of the faces. So many of them they were so happy, smiling. Like there's just like, the way that I explain this is, I don't know if you saw this video. There's been a bunch of videos in the last like 2 days of people yelling at players. And then when the player comes up to the stand, someone yelled at talking shit to Russell Westbrook. Someone
he gets that a lot, huh?
Yeah. And then someone else. And then the players just walk up to the stand and goes, "What's up? What do you have to say to my face?" And then he goes, "No, man, we just want you to win."
Let me get a photo.
Exactly. So like with Elon, there's all this like rah, rah, rah talk. If Elon Musk shows up to the building, you're
like, holy
smiling.
Fuck, it's Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's still Elon Musk at the end of the day.
Yeah. I agree. I also think people are just babies, and people are babies on social media, and people just like to like be scared and the uncertainty and, oh my God, evil billionaire. And like, I think probably even just showing how much he actually cares. And, he put out this really, well thought out little statement on Twitter about what his intentions are. Yeah. And I have to believe that you would have to be just a pretty negative, miserable person to not be at least a little intrigued or inspired. Like, this is kind of interesting. This guy is really motivated to make this place great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting that you can, like, the perception of people is just mind blowing in my mind. Like the way that like we like will shit all over Elon Musk, like people will do that. And then, but they're doing it in their Tesla on the platform that he now owns.
100%. Look, we just live in an era where like it's become like there's an outlet. Yeah. Like it's just, you're supposed to complain.
No. And it's so like, especially I was like enjoying Twitter again, and now that we're in the midst of an election season, and we're two weeks away. Oh my God!
Yeah, I'm out of there for the next month.
It's so stupid. It's just like everyone's just bashing each other's candidates. No one's actually saying why their person is better. That's like the main tactic. I'm not going to tell you why my candidate is better. I'm just going to tell you why you suck.
Yeah, it's terrible. Did you see, by the way, the clips from that Dr. Oz debate?
No, but I was reading that it was a disaster.
The Democrat guy, I forget his name, he just shat the bed of all shat the beds. Like it was nuts. I mean, that's the only, I guess, fun part is you get like all the just fuckery that's going on. But yeah, I can't even, I'm probably between the Elon Musk sort of bashing and the election stuff. I feel like the next 2 weeks are done on
and
Twitter.
by the way, Apple just released their earnings.
Yeah, what's going on?
And so they actually beat on earnings, beat on revenue. They were supposed to come at $88.9 billion. They did 90. Can you believe they did $90 fucking billion in a quarter?
Crazy.
But they were light on iPhone revenue.
Yeah.
Stock's getting slaughtered.
It is.
Yeah.
I just wonder.
iPhone revenue for the last quarter was $42 billion.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Who is buying all these iPhones? Every quarter you're buying an iPhone?
I mean, I wonder.
You just wake up, you have a burger, and buy an iPhone?
Buy an iPhone, yeah. I think if you took a survey of like, what is the most universally desired product, it has to be an iPhone, right?
Of all time.
Okay, here's my next question. I wonder is there a day where the iPhone sales don't mean as much to Apple's stock? Like, do they go so far into services and content and all that stuff that iPhone sales no longer move the stock like this? I feel like in 2 years, that's the case. What?
But with what? So other products does 9.6 billion. iPad does 7 billion, and it's down 13% over year. Mac revenue is 11.5 billion. There's nothing else. That is the whole business.
What's their service? What's their
19.19 billion. It only grew 5%. Like that's not doubling in the next year.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tougher than I thought. I thought the trajectory was a lot quicker than that.
And keep in mind, most of the most popular phone in the world is not an iPhone. It's probably some Android device because most people can't afford.
Is, like, here's the whole. Yeah, I agree. The problem is like. Essentially what Apple figured out is that, hey, we actually have a distribution service here because we have all these iPhones, we can run products through them. It's just like, how many iPhones can you possibly fucking sell? Like at what point does everyone just have a goddamn iPhone and people aren't upgrading every...
Yeah, I mean, it just has to be that there's new people, like the new kid that was born in like 10 years is going to need a new phone. And it's going to
they got to be in there thinking like, how do we get 3-year-olds on iPhones?
Yeah, I mean, they're on iPads, so yeah, it's not far. I'm blown away. The stock looks like it's recovering now. It came out of the gate bad. So, but I mean, dude, Amazon is really down. It's bad.
Yeah, that's rough. They also said that I don't know if you saw, but the lead design. So to me, the biggest problem and what they got completely bashed for was that the new iPhone 14 was like pretty much the same. Like the last few phones now have been the same. There's not much innovation or even design changes going on there. And then the lead designer who replaced Johnny Ive just left. So it seems to me like there's a bit of an issue there. Like they have to kind of, I don't know, like if your iPhone doesn't stay cool and doesn't stay like gotta have it, you know, it starts to mean problems for all the services.
Just think about it, given how integrated your iPhone is into your life. At what point do you walk away from the iPhone? It's going to be pretty fucking hard.
I couldn't. Yeah, there's no way.
I mean, like, given my age, I will probably never change iPhone. Like, I'm not trying to be innovative in my personal life. I have no fucking interest. I don't need to be the first on everything. Like when iPhone came out, the day it came out, when it debuted in whenever it was, 2009 or whatever it was, I got it that day. Because that was who I was as a person at that time. Like I wanted the latest, greatest, and I thought it was a revolutionary product.
Yeah. I
don't feel that way about anything.
No, you're in for life. I think I'm in for life.
Yeah, like I got my aerosol right guard. I'm riding it to the grave.
Yeah.
Unless it got discontinued I will be using my Right Guard aerosol with my iPhone, my 3-4 things that I like, the toothpaste.
The Claritin
D.
You just have your little kit, you know?
Yeah, it's like my kit is...
Your travel bag isn't changing from here on
ever.
out.
Yeah, like that's it.
I agree, because the other thing is they're getting better and better at the way, like, I don't know, it's just the subtle things about the way phones and iPads and stuff like connect to each other. Like the way that I can be texting on one phone and then jump on my laptop and pick up the conversation and then this and that. Like it's just so seamless. It would take so much to disrupt that.
Yeah, I think it's too integrated. And if they do one day come out with a car that's integrated, I mean, I just think about when I have all these Apple devices, right? Like I have an iPhone, I have a laptop, I have a desktop, you know, and the fact that like my websites show up on all, passwords show up on all, like that shit's wild to me.
I mean, I thought about it yesterday. Yesterday, I was watching a Spotify podcast on my Apple TV, on my TV, and I was working on my laptop. And then I got up, closed my laptop, turned off the thing, got in the car, and literally just had everything I was working on my laptop continued on the conversations. Press play on Spotify. My podcast picked up from where it was left off. And it's just, I literally thought to myself without even knowing we were going to have this conversation, like, this is pretty nuts when it comes to like how fucking easy our lives are.
Yeah, it
you
really
know what I'm
is.
saying? Like, this is wild.
Yeah, I think it is wild. But yeah, so I think like if you had to bet, okay, we know what Anand's all in on Facebook. So if you had $1 million you have to invest tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the options are Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Apple. What would you invest? Tomorrow. You could invest in all of them too if you like it.
But I would go Apple.
You put all $1 million into Apple. That seems like the safest.
I would, yeah. To me, it does.
Yeah. I would say I would lean Microsoft and Apple.
Yeah.
I think what we're learning is that like when you're consumer facing, it's really, really difficult. And the only reason why I'd feel comfortable with Apple is like the moat to disrupt Apple feels like you would have to raise $1 trillion.
Yeah. And I just like the one thing that really got me on Apple too was like brand.
Yeah.
I think Microsoft is a really good bet also, but I think the brand of Apple, like Apple can afford to have. Sorry,
I didn't add Google either. What about Google?
I think that's probably, I mean, look, if it comes to just boring, like what's equally as smart, I think you could put $1 million into Apple, Google, or Microsoft, and they could it's a crapshoot between the three.
Yeah.
But I think that what neither of the other two have is brand. And I think the Apple brand, the ability to have people wait in line to get your new watch. I mean, even this slow ass iPhone that they isn't selling, I've been just casually looking to see if it's available for delivery. You know, they have like they'll deliver it to your house the same day, and it still hasn't been available.
Wow.
For same day delivery. So even being it's slow, like everyone's still like, there's still, 1 million videos on YouTube, how to use the new features on Apple to make fucking movies, how to, oh my gosh, shooting photos versus a DSLR versus the new Apple. Like it's such a cult following that I think that not only is there a moat from the tie-in that you have on all their products, but I just think that brand is hard to compete with. I mean, is it the greatest brand in American history?
Yeah, I mean, it is by far.
I mean, yeah, right?
And I would say it's a luxury brand. Apple is not
for sure
run of the mill. Like I'd put Apple in the same conversation as I would put any brand from Kering Group or LVMH or any of those people.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, by the way, go ahead.
No, finish.
No, because I think like it's still, if you look at Apple penetration, it's still in the richest cities, richest countries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's green bubbles out there still.
There is still green bubbles, and that's sad.
It is kind of sad.
But like literally when we talk about like one of the most valuable companies, I don't know what their market cap is today versus the others, but the most admired brand probably in history, the most desired product in history. It's just, I don't know how you're going to compete with that.
$2.3 trillion.
Are they top? Who's the most valuable?
Them and Microsoft, I think, kind of switches on a given day.
Jesus Christ. I remember when it doesn't feel like that.
1.7.
Wow, losers.
$700 billion.
Wow. I remember when we were sitting in the office for group chat, which does not feel very long ago, but I guess now it was probably 3 years ago. And we were talking about like, damn, Apple's about to hit $1 trillion.
And then casual hit 2.
And then fucking, wow, man. Okay. Well, your $1 million would have been 2.3. Shopify. Did we talk about Shopify yet?
No, we didn't.
That's the last one. They got a pop?
Yeah, I don't.
What's going
this
on,
one
man?
I don't get. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting this.
You know what's crazy is they're saying the GMV, which is the gross merchandise volume on the platform, rose 11% to 46.2 billion, and
Q3.
they still lost money. They just lost less money, and they actually beat on revenue, but their gross margins went down. And the metric that I would love to know is, I want to know of excluding new sites on Shopify year over year GMV numbers, to see if existing customers are still growing, or are they just doing a really good job of stealing customers. Like I think Glossier today announced they're on Shopify. Like that's a huge business that adds volume right away. Cause like I could see them stealing market share continuously. I just don't believe that their actual sellers are doing well. Actually, I know they're not doing well.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would die to know that number, but you'd have to imagine that at least at a minimum 2021 to 2022 would have to be down store for store. It would have to be. Yeah. Everyone that we talked to last year, stimulus, everyone's stuck inside.
So the number one Shopify store, I think by all metrics still, is Fashion Nova.
Yep.
There could be a world where his site went up in business. And even if he went from, I'm just speculating, but let's say he did $1 billion. If he went from 1 billion to 1.1 billion, he does clean up a lot of smaller shops with the net $100 million increase, right? So I think my guess is that the top 10 Shopify stores may have actually gone up this year.
Yeah.
Everyone else went down, but those top 10 delta is so big.
Yeah, that's possible.
That maybe it covered up for all the small stores.
Yeah. I would that's the type of information I would love to know. Because I would imagine that they are just acquiring new customers, Shopify, like crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, starting a new business. We even talked about how many new Shopify businesses fail quickly. But like starting a business, it's all over TikTok. It's all over everywhere. It's how to make $100,000 a month on Shopify, how to blah, 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 drop ship stuff. I just feel like it's hotter than ever to start a store. So they must have a bunch of new people driving business.
Yeah, must be.
Okay, real quick into we got some Kanye stuff. It's not looking good. Here's a headline I never thought I'd read.
The Donda Academy is closing.
No, that one I'll be honest with you. That one I was pretty sure I would read. Ye escorted out of Skechers' office in Los Angeles after he showed up unannounced. If you would have told me 6 months ago, Kanye West is going, you're telling me, if you would have told me 6 months ago, Kanye West couldn't show up in the Skechers office naked and on fire, and they wouldn't be like, hey, Ye, come on in. What can we offer you? I would have thought you were insane.
Fascinating, because the Greenbergs are the family that runs Skechers.
That's not good. There's one thing he couldn't have done, and he did it.
Yeah, and it's pretty fascinating because Kanye West can't get a partner for his shoe business. Kicked out of Gap, kicked out of Adidas. has no bank account.
Out of
Basically,
CAA.
no agency, can't do a tour, can't do shit.
It's pretty nuts, yeah.
And what's really fascinating is he posted something on Instagram earlier. Basically, like it felt like kind of an apology. Like he posted, literally, this is what he posted: Ari Emanuel, and then space. I lost $2 billion in one day, and I'm still alive. This is love speech. I still love you. God still loves you. The money is not who I am. The people is who I am. Is this the apology tour starting? You have to start with the kingpin of Ari Emanuel, and you have to get Ari's blessing. Like Ari Emanuel has to bless you. And those who don't know, Ari Emanuel is who started WME Endeavor, most powerful person in Hollywood.
Gold on Entourage.
Ari Gold on Entourage, arguably the most powerful person in Hollywood, and
also the one holding the hose for the famous
Elon picture.
Elon picture, oddly enough.
So I mean, Kanye has to go to the kingpin and say, all right, how do I get back in good graces?
Yeah, but that's not he also earlier that day posted something about like, I haven't fucked a supermodel in a week or something.
Yeah.
Like he posted something pretty wild. I mean, that could be the toe dip into apology, but that was a pretty soft apology, you know?
Yeah,
it seems to me like he's still, if I had to guess, like if I had to take my impression, it seems like he is still full speed ahead.
Yeah, I think the consequences are coming now, right? Because in 60 days, his bank account's going to look a lot lighter.
I mean, we all know how quickly, especially like, let's say in a business, and really like Kanye looks more like a business than a person in his bank accounts. We know how quickly this shit flips. And one day you're calling yourself the richest black man in history, and money is just flowing in, and you are going to buy Parlor, and you're going to blah, blah, blah. And literally the next day you can't make payroll, and things change quickly. And like, it really happens that quickly. And I just feel like, man, there had to be just a money printer coming from Adidas.
Yeah.
That when you turn that thing off, I'm guessing his life isn't cheap.
No way.
It's just rough, man. It's going to be a rough. It's getting serious.
Yeah, it's getting extremely serious. I don't even think he realizes how serious it is. Yeah. If you can't, like, it's going to be hard for him to make money in America. Because sure, if he launches stuff online, I'm sure people would buy it. I have no doubt in my mind people would buy it. Yeah. But if you keep getting distribution pulled, eventually you're going to have an issue with like manufacturing product. Yeah. Like you want to make a t-shirt. Okay. Who's going to make it for you?
I mean, what if you don't have a bank and you can't pay the vendors even? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you think of right now, like think of whatever business you want of yours, current or previous. If tomorrow they said, hey, you have 2 weeks to find a completely new bank for everything, like it would be such a nightmare. And that's for you who has like a pretty good gauge on like where the money goes, what's going on, who you're going to owe. Kanye has no idea. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's a crazy undertaking to switch all that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see how it plays out. And you look, there are going to be people that take advantage of this. Like, if you don't have a conscience, like you could go be his screen printer, go be his bank, go be his manufacturing partner, and you'll make money. There's no doubt.
Some people are about to come up.
Yeah, someone's going to take the risk.
There's a group. There's like, you know, they're not connected, but I'm just saying there's a group of people that are just have no problem with this type of business and are going to have a record year on their business because of Kanye.
Yeah. I mean, crazy how his life has basically.
I mean, it's impressive.
It's crazy how many people are defending it still.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
it's chess moves.
TikTok. Chess moves.
Yeah, genius. Genius.
How do you know how they spell genius? There should be a documentary called Stupid.
Yeah, there should. Apparently there was a new documentary in the works on him that got pulled. We've seen a lot of like people get canceled, and other than the really, really serious ones, I don't think it actually really goes this deep. Like a lot of people like kind of like, oh, we're going to pause their show. We were working on a show, or we're going to, they're not booked in any movies for a little bit. But this guy literally went from like the biggest, like the top of the top to like everything being pulled.
What's interesting is people were saying because, who else has to deal with you say a couple words and your whole life gets ruined. I mean, we just saw Alex Jones just get sued and lost like $1 trillion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it does, your words do matter. Like whether you like it or not, you say hurtful things. It has an impact on your life. It had an impact on Donald Trump's life. Yes, he became president, and now look at him. He's basically hiding from the law.
Yeah.
Like I think it transcends race. Like no one can get away with it at scale. They just can't.
It's true. And it's such, it's so much more nuanced than anyone can like, at least any of these social media takes can say. Cause it's sort of like, it's all or nothing. Like either you should cancel people or you shouldn't, or like censorship or no censorship. And it's just so much more nuanced. And I get the feeling, and I've heard this, but I get the feeling that there's people that have been putting up with Kanye for years, and that was actually going to be my loser of the week, but like sort of covering up for him or dealing with it or whatever. And there just is this feeling that like everyone's kind of sick of it. Like it's like, all right, like now's our chance. He's been so tough to deal with. It's been so crazy. We're all out. Because now there's all these stories. There's a story that one of the guys sent to the group chat about all of a sudden it's on CNN that Kanye's been a Hitler lover for years, and he was going to name one of his albums Hitler, and everyone knows this, and everyone around him can vouch and say yes, he was going to call the album. He's just like, what? Where did this come from? Like all of a sudden, any crazy thing he's done is like coming out.
Yeah, and I think people. Yeah, I mean, when tides turn against you quick, and
they do.
If they're not in your, if you're not in people's good graces anymore, you're out.
Yeah. Quickly. I mean, this shows, we talked about it. I kind of thought it could happen. You guys had a good point that like, it's just too big to fail. This could never happen. I think it's happening.
Oh yeah. I was definitely wrong on that. I was like Jim Cramer with Meta.
That's fair. I would say I was half in, but here's the other thing. Donda Academy, like you said, closing. So Kanye has a school, for anyone who might not know that, closing its doors immediately.
Yeah, I mean, look, people are like, oh, look what's happening to these students. I mean, these parents made a choice.
Yeah, so you made a risky bet.
You made a very risky bet. I'm not blaming anyone but the parents here. Like, you chose to go to some rapper's school. Like, what?
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
You made your kid a guinea pig. It didn't work out.
Yeah, they charge. It's not like it's free. They charge money for it.
Good morning, Donda. Good morning, Donda. Like, what'd you learn? What'd you learn in your first year at Donda? Good morning, Donda. And then the school closed.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, you gave his own kids didn't go there. His own kids went to another private school.
That's wild.
They were like, this is nuts.
Yeah, I do feel bad for the kids because they personally had no idea. They didn't sign up for this. But man, if you're a parent throwing your kid in that school, you were taking a risk and it didn't pay off. Hey, when it rains, it pours.
Money's drying up quick. He's got to save every penny.
Happens very quick. Okay, we have an interview with Mo from Ledger. So let's jump into that, and then we'll come back and wrap it up with our winners, losers, and content for the weekend.
Yeah, it's an incredible interview. So check it out, and then join us right back.
Let's do it.
All right, Kathy. So, we talk about crypto a lot on the podcast, and I know the interest in crypto really is based on the price of ETH and Bitcoin. And guess what? ETH and Bitcoin are back up. So I know you care all of a sudden again. And so we have Mo from the Ledger team with us today. Welcome to the podcast, Mo.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Mo's joining us from Paris. And, I think one of the interesting things about Web3 and crypto is we saw this like massive interest the last couple of years. And I think a big part of it was fundamentally it was the technology and what's possible. And then there's a huge part of just the appreciation of the value of all of these assets, whether it be NFTs, different currencies. And as those prices went away and started going down, you saw interest also back off. But if you are looking at the space from an innovation or an investor standpoint, more money is still being poured in. More of the smartest people are still working on Web3 and crypto projects, which makes me feel like exactly what happened in 2000 after the dot-com bust, where like the bullshitters left and then the people that actually wanted to build really great companies and businesses stayed and built. And then we were all like, hey man, I can't believe Amazon's so big, or Google or whatever, eBay, out of that first era of internet companies. And I feel that's where we're at today. And it's exciting what you guys are doing at Ledger, because I feel like you're at the forefront of kind of the revolution. And so I think my first question to you is like, one, what's it like working at Ledger? And then more importantly, what do you do there?
Man, it's amazing working at Ledger. But first of all, you're absolutely right about your first point. I think the amount of companies and agencies, I come from the agency world. I used to do brand building and storytelling before. And the amount of people that call me every day to tell me that we're working on a Web3 project or an NFT project, or that they're launching a community-based NFT project is just increasing. And it actually maybe dropped a little bit after the crash beginning of this year. But it's coming back. And I think that a lot of people realize that Web3 is here to stay. And then the question doesn't become about, how, or, the question, sorry, doesn't become about how they do it or why they do it. It becomes about when. And now is a really good time, because in a bull market, people tend to react rather than strategize and think about acting in the long term. So that's really something that we're very interested in at Ledger. How do we actually become that partner to these different artists, creators, brands that are willing to come into the space, but that don't know necessarily how to do it from a security standpoint. And basically what I do is that I had community and education at Ledger. So I work with a wonderful team of creative individuals that think every day about how do we actually make that onboarding experience as seamless and as fun as possible. Because if you think about it, actually, if you think about the word crypto, and I'm quoting John Oliver here, it's mixing everything we don't know about computers with everything we don't know about money. You add education to that. I don't know about you, but I didn't really like going to school. So the word education doesn't really resonate with me. So it's a pretty challenging, I would say, mission to make crypto education fun and accessible. And the way we do it is that we actually work on a variety of different initiatives. We obviously have our Ledger Academy, which is the educational bedrock that hosts a wide variety of different content types and formats. We have editorial content, we have a podcast, we have fun series to watch, tutorials, and what we call classrooms, which is basically a streamlined pathway of different content pieces that come in together to teach people about a certain topic. And then on top of that, we have, community, I would say, go-to-market strategies with different educational programs for different, Web3 communities, artists and creators. We're working on gamified educational initiatives. We just launched our first metaverse experience. It's called School of Block. It's on the Sandbox. People can actually learn, play, and earn exclusive NFT rewards along the way. So we're doing a lot of things at once, but the whole idea is that, as I said, we want to make sure that whoever comes into the space have the ability to learn about Web3, all while they experience it at the same time, and they experience it safely.
Yeah, I think the real interesting opportunity, in my opinion, is like, how do you get someone to break break the glass and kind of get into the community. I always try to think of, when you look at early internet, like I remember being in the 90s on the internet, and I was on through either Prodigy or AOL, and my resource for the internet was to check when I knew I could check sports scores in real time. I was like, whoa, this is cool. And I knew I could check the weather. I thought, wow, this is cool. And then eventually stocks. And I remember as a kid, like it was, and then all of a sudden there was these chat rooms where I was connecting with people that got me like, oh my God, I could just talk to other kids all over the world about whatever I was interested in. And so that was like my adoption. And there wasn't a lot of people on the internet in the 90s, right? And then I think the breaking point when I was in college was MP3s. That was like the moment, and Ian Rogers, who obviously well, that Winamp, like that was in every dorm room at USC where I went to college in 1998. And like, I felt like MP3s brought so many people to the internet because you were like, whoa, free music. You can just get all the music you want for free. What do you think, is going to be that for crypto that just gets like mass adoption, not just of young people, but like our parents? What do you think is that moment?
That's a great question. And I think, the fact that you mentioned MP3s is pretty funny, because what I usually tell people is that NFTs are that, and that NFTs are kind of like a file format. They're a token format. So back in the day, I used to send people NFTs. It'd be like, I used to send people MP3s. Like my friends would be like, hey, have you got that, MP3 song? You used to have that, MP3 player in your pocket, and it all used to be about MP3s. Today, we don't mention the format anymore. It could be an MP3, a wave. And I think we'll end up in a similar situation with NFTs, right? Like today, we only talk about the format. But what is actually behind that format is our ability to own a digital object, own a digital thing, whether it be a picture, a movie, and, item in a game, whatever, a ticket, a club membership. And I think that whole concept of digital ownership that goes beyond the currency, that, whether it be Bitcoin or Ethereum, but the concept of digital ownership in a more general sense, like owning stuff on the internet, is what is going to get people into the space. And today it's obviously starting with NFTs. But if you look at, some of these developments that have been happening with Reddit, for instance, or Starbucks.
What's happening with Reddit? What's happening with Reddit? So, I hear everyone talking about it, but I haven't really paid attention to it specifically.
Yeah, so Reddit have actually included a variety of different functionalities, crypto functionalities on their platform. They enable you to create your own profile that has a wallet linked to it, that enables you to actually use Polygon to buy different digital assets, including their avatars. You can customize them, and so on and so forth. And Polygon is actually doing a great job at onboarding all of these different projects, because it's scalable, it's inexpensive, it's relying on the security of Ethereum, so it's actually quite secure. And we're seeing these like big, I would say, corporations and brands adopt the Web3 space, and no one's really talking about it outside of that Web3 bubble, right? But this is really where it starts becoming truly interesting, because if you look at these, big two companies and how they've adopted Web3, if you look at like their communication and how they are actually building that whole storytelling around their new initiatives, they're avoiding the word NFT, because how NFTs were actually branded during the bull market is mainly being that, degen type of asset where people are actually flipping them from, whatever basement, chilling and smoking weed and eating, whatever candy, that's kind of like the profile that was built around that NFT collector, which is actually not true. But, some of them are like that, but, some of any type of flippers or collectors in the world, you're always going to have that cohort that's only following the the pump. But anyway, back to Reddit and whatever they're doing, and Starbucks as well. You're seeing these big companies actually adopt that space and avoiding, doubling down on the word NFT. It's all about digital ownership. It's all about being able to own your identity, to own your assets, and to be able to monetize your data to some extent.
Amazing. That feels like if you're part of the Reddit community, you kind of have to engage in that, because that's going to be your digital identity on that platform. And that will get you in. It's always like places like Reddit are like, specifically when it comes to technology and the internet, are just early adopters on all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, it'll be like, duh, like 5 years from now, like, why didn't we all do that earlier? What are you guys doing at the Ledger Academy to kind of help educate people? Like who should be, checking that out in your guys' opinion?
Yeah, I mean, Ledger Academy is really a project that we've been working on for the past 3 years, and that's constantly been evolving. So it started us as a platform that only had tutorial articles for our products. And then we started realizing that, for people to be interested in our products, they need to understand how that space works. So we started working like different articles about that whole space. What is blockchain, Web3, crypto, security related articles. And then we realized last year that, education on its own wasn't going to be enough, so that we needed to start merging education with entertainment. So we started working on, different series and content, concepts that were merging these two worlds together. So we have like fun stuff to watch. You could watch we have a show that's called School of Blog. You could watch it. There are about 40 episodes. They cover almost everything in the world of crypto, and we've actually built the scenarios in a way that makes it fun for people to watch. And then we started, developing other types of tutorials that were video tutorials. We have another series coming in that's called How I Got Hacked, where we interviewed people who got hacked and kind of tell their stories throughout the episode.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, but they're happy to talk about it, because at the end of the day, being able to tell that story will just enable other people to understand where it went wrong and what are the red flags that they would need to look at. So yeah, we also have the podcast that you've mentioned at the beginning of the conversation on there as well. So the whole idea is that we have different content formats and different concepts. And as a new user, you'll be able to come into the Academy and choose them based on the different filters that are available to you. So you could choose a difficulty level, a topic that you want to learn about, the time that you want to spend learning about that topic, and then our kind of algorithm will feed you content that is actually based on your desires. So to answer your question, it's actually for almost everyone. Obviously, it's designed specifically for newbies or people that are not very technically savvy, but the more you spend time on the Academy, the more you have access, and the more you'll be able to understand the concepts and the topics that are a bit more technical. So it's a good way to kick off your journey into the Web3 space.
Amazing. And what about Ledger Quest? What's that about? That's something new I've heard of.
Yes, that's a project that I'm very excited about. So if you think about the Academy, it's great. But one, I would say, friction with the Academy is that we're actually using Web 2 mediums to educate people about Web 3 technology, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I love podcasts. I appreciate having this conversation with you. Yeah. I'm also hosting a podcast. So I think Web 2 mediums are very important. I think we should, keep on building whatever we are building. Using these mediums, whether it be editorial, video, audio. However, I think that there is a misalignment of incentive between how these mediums actually work and what people are looking at when they get into this space. And I think the main one being time. And time is actually a big issue. When you come into Web3, it's all about the FOMO. It's all about you don't have a lot of time to mint this project that's going to pump in like 24 hours, and your friend is telling you that you need to buy it right now, and the only way for you to buy it right now is for you to create a software wallet that is obviously not very safe because it is actually hosted on a Web 2 hardware, so an internet connected device. You mint that thing, and then you start thinking about security after you face a certain threat or after you hear of someone facing another threat. So the whole idea of having education separate from the Web3 experience makes it so that people don't actually focus on education right away. The analogy I often use is, imagine you turning 16 and me coming to you with your car keys and be like, hey, you just turned 16, I got you a car, there you go, you can drive. There's like a 99% chance that you won't even be able to start the car, and if you do start the car, there's a big chance that you're either going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt somewhere else. And our Ledger Quest is this idea of bringing education into the Web3 experience. So Ledger Quest is a gamified educational platform. It is based on 3 different pillars: learn, play, and earn. The whole idea is that we're linking it to Ledger Academy. So the learn part is academy based. You get to experience different quests. These quests are, as I said, divided into 3 parts. So you get to learn about a topic, then you get to play. So playing is actually you play a quiz. So there are multiple questions and multiple answers. If you succeed at that quest, you get to claim a proof of knowledge NFT. That NFT is non-transferable. Its function is to prove knowledge. However, its form could be anything. So it could be an artwork, it could be a metaverse wearable, it could be a collectible. So we are actually we're trying to incentivize people to learn about Web3 security by rewarding them with the reason why they got into the space in the first place, really cool. Which is collecting NFTs. And how we want to roll it out is with the different intellectual properties that are leading the space. So the different NFT projects that we are proud to have as our launch partners. So we've partnered with Word of Women, Cool Cats, ApeCoin, Deadfellas, Fuckrender, with Lucidia. And these different communities or these different IPs will actually be creating their own designs for these proof of knowledge NFTs and then token gating these quests to their users. And that's kind of our launch phase, but you'll have much more, a lot more quests and much more things to do on that platform. You're going to have ledger-based quests. So these quests will be mainly about the Ledger ecosystem. And if you actually get these proof of knowledge NFTs, you'll have a lot of subsequent perks like unlocking special products, services, being able to attend IRL events. So that proof of knowledge NFT actually has a lot of different, I would say, elements to it. It proves your knowledge. It provides you with a cool NFT that has a cool artwork that could become a social badge, because if you're wearing that Ledger metaverse wearable and you're hanging out in the sandbox, if I see you and we're wearing the same thing, there's like a connection between us. Like, hey, we went through the same experience. We have shared values between us. And then I can start token gating experiences for exclusive to the Ledger Quest holders. So like, you did your homework, you learned about security and self-custody.
Sorry to interrupt, but this idea is so fucking good. It should be how we have our school systems. Like, it should be first grade, second grade, and you're collecting NFTs to prove your graduation status. And then when you're 18, maybe it unlocks money, or like your parents can put money in it for you, or what? Like,
I love that.
It's so fucking clever, because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, how do we, like, one of the challenges I see in just the education system in general is that unless your family is bought into like educating you, you're at a severe disadvantage. So like my parents, all they cared about was education. So we were very well educated our entire life. There are so many people I grew up with whose families' education was not the number one priority. So they were left at a disadvantage when they got older in life. If the entire education system is proof of work, and through this, I mean, like, I feel like you guys, this concept is so brilliant. It needs to be integrated into education, because it is the only way you can incentive. Like when you said learn, play, earn, I was like, fuck, that should be education. If kids knew if you did well on something, you would earn something, because the grade
Absolutely.
inherently has no value is the problem. Getting
Absolutely.
an A only means something to your parents.
100%.
Right? And so this is, I'm fascinated by it. It's brilliant.
I appreciate the feedback. No, but you're absolutely right. If you think about it from a game theoretical standpoint, our current educational, I would say, design doesn't make a lot of sense, right? You don't see the incentive right away. You see a lot of people, succeeding at life without necessarily having a university degree.
Yeah.
And I started working at Ledger. No one ever asked me for my university degree. So, I just have a few PDFs that might be linked to my LinkedIn profile, but
Yeah.
I could have done them in Photoshop as well. So,
by the way, I used to have a Harvard flag behind me on this podcast, and people just assumed I went to Harvard. And it's more important that you assume I went to Harvard than actually went.
100%. It's a social badge.
Yeah,
so
that's all it
there's
is.
that social badge component. But to come back to that PDF version, if you think about, could LinkedIn tomorrow add a Web3 login functionality? I'm sure they could. Could they start including, proof of knowledge NFTs in the profile section or in the experience section that you have? Obviously, would that be something that would be more credible and legitimate than a PDF that anyone can actually design on Photoshop? I think so. So I think how actually NFTs will start impacting education, certifications, and how that would become, immutable and super verifiable thanks to the blockchain is going to revolutionize the education, system. And I think that, obviously, we won't be able to do that right away with Quest, but the long-term vision of Quest is enabling people to actually prove knowledge that is related to certain Web3 skills, linking this knowledge to whatever profile they're using to find a job, and then helping out these different companies in the ecosystem find the talents that they want or that they need thanks to these proof of knowledge NFTs.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. Congratulations on it. I think it's definitely going to help bring a lot of people to the space. If people wanted to reach out to you or Ledger, what's the best way to do that?
So you can reach out to me on Twitter. It's at Mo_Rels, RELS. Obviously Ledger, at Ledger on Twitter. We're pretty active there. We also have our Discord. It's called Ledger Open. I can actually send you all of these links, and you can link them in the episode description. Where we're actually being more and more active on Discord. We consider Discord as our digital city that has different neighborhoods. So we'll have, Ledgerverse channel, a Ledger Market Pass channel, Ledger Quest channel in the future, Ledger Academy. And we have a lot of different communities in there interacting and helping each other out. So it's pretty cool. I love spending time on Discord. So yeah, mainly Twitter and Discord.
Amazing. Well, thanks so much for your time, Mo. This is really interesting. And it's interesting that, in times when everyone isn't paying attention is actually the time to pay attention, because this is where actual innovation and inherently wealth will be created, because, it's just how the world works.
Absolutely. I mean, our mission is really to try and make sure that whoever comes into the space have the tools that they need, as we said, and the knowledge. And this is part of a broader mission to actually, decentralize the internet. And for the internet to be decentralized and secure, people need to have, as I said, the tools and the knowledge and the power to secure themselves. So we're doing it right now. We're building the foundation of all of these different platforms, and we're waiting for the next bull run. And we hope that people will be able to come in and find what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dee. Appreciate it.
All right. Great chat. Let's wrap it up. Dee, who is your winner for the last week? Biggest winner?
My biggest winner is Apple, actually. I I was looking at I was waiting for these earnings to come out, and I was looking at Google got creamed, Amazon got creamed, Meta got creamed, and Apple sitting here today. Right now, the stock's basically unchanged, but a $2.3 trillion company, 2.3 trillion is the value of this business.
Yeah, it's so wild.
They sell a phone, right? I know they do more, but their main thing is a phone.
Yeah.
Apple's revenue on a quarter on a phone is more than 99.9% of businesses on earth.
Yeah.
And it takes me to who also was my winner, and it kind of goes hand in hand, is California now is the 4th largest economy in the world.
Wow.
It is ahead of Germany.
Wow.
So it's United States, China, Japan,
California.
Holy
shit.
Which is the home to some of the biggest companies on earth. Apple, Meta.
Not if Gavin Newsom has anything to say about it.
Netflix. Yeah, exactly.
He'll get them all out of here.
I mean, you look at what California has to offer to the country.
Yeah.
We should be better allocators of
paradise.
Yeah, it should be you surf to work. There's just you just
Literally.
catch waves, and
you should be paid to start a business. It should be.
It should be like Dubai. We just have so much money. Everyone's kids go to college. The money's in your account when your kid turns 18. Go to whatever school you want.
It should.
We should have free education, free healthcare, free everything. We have the Apple alone could subsidize it.
You're so right. California should be a fucking what do you call it? A fucking okay, well, fumbled that one. What do you call a perfect world? A utopia. Yeah, Jesus Christ. California should be a fucking utopia. You should need to come here to start your business. It should be the best place to start a business. It is the best weather, undeniably.
We have the best weather. We have the biggest companies in the world. We have probably the best college in Stanford in the state. I mean, you have just definitely the best looking people. And so when you start stacking up what California has to offer, why the fuck is the city like this?
Oh, that's so crazy to think about, because it's so bad. Literally, I was listening to a podcast last night with some guys that live in New York, and they're like, yeah, well, we can't even talk about LA because that place is a fucking war zone. And they were talking about Florida and New York, and New York's really not that bad. Crime isn't that bad, but we can't talk about LA. It's just it's known how bad it is. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a bag fumble.
Yeah. Big one.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're getting down to election time. So there's some important things that could sway maybe the future outcome of that.
Yeah.
Stuff. Might get our utopia.
Okay.
My winner, you know who my winner is? Taylor Swift.
Okay.
You can't, undeniable. She's the top of the top. She, apparently no album has sold more than 1 million records in a week, in 5 years. And Taylor Swift did it in 3 days.
Wow.
Apparently her projections are somewhere around 1.5 million. And
even still right now on Spotify, all of her entire album is the top whatever.
Yep.
But you don't see that anymore.
No. And apparently it's more albums. I'm going to botch this, but more first week sales than Drake, The Weeknd, J. Cole, everyone combined. It's just on another level. And I don't, admittedly, I'm not a Swiftie. So I don't quite get it all, but it's the way that she does her marketing and the way she keeps her audience engaged. And I've been seeing that she does all these Easter eggs in her interviews for what her album's going to be. And there's a story around it. And it's just I don't know, in an age of silly singles and how can you get the next TikTok, hook that's famous. It sounds like she puts a lot of real creativity into this stuff, and it pays off. And she's just, she's the GOAT. So
yeah, and what's interesting is people have been talking about how fragmented content is. It's really hard to break through at a major way anymore. 1.5 million records sold in a week means you broke through.
in such a big way.
It's so big. So I also think it's a testament to like how weak all the rest of the music is right now.
I know. It kind of makes you feel like, oh, it's not.
I'm not discounting how big Taylor Swift is and how good her music is. It would have done well no matter what. But like,
when you see that's available.
There is not another artist that is putting out music where a wide variety of people enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, even Drake, like Drake has to see this and be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like Drake, Drake probably sells what, 200,000 or 300,000 first week now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 3 or 4,
more,
whatever.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that Drake probably even thought like the top of the mountain is like 700K, maybe a million if just something was crazy. She's going to sell like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. Like it has to be like even a wake up to artists like that. Like, oh, that is available if you can do it right.
Yeah, I think it is quite fascinating. And I think even Harry Styles actually did really, really well with his album first week. And he's on a big tour. I mean, look, I think tons of artists can tour and do really, really well. But like to break through from like this level, it feels like fucking pretty special.
It's also just sick. Like I said, I think a week ago was like, she can do this forever.
Yeah.
Like she's not rapping about like, hoes and guns and you know what I'm saying? Like where it's like, hey man, you're 40, like get out of the club. She can literally write about love and heartbreak and life and the joy of her children one day. And like, she can do this till she's fucking 70.
Yeah. She can. Yeah. It's endless basically.
Yeah,
whereas anything in hip hop and most of pop is pretty fleeting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like, you can't even live that brand anymore. It's like,
like what does Drake really have?
Yeah,
years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes. I mean, you have like I think the best example of it is Jay-Z 444 talking about collecting art and investing money. And he did that really well. Nas does it really well, but it's not
the biggest star in the world type music. It's just,
and it's not relatable to everyone still. Like I think Taylor Swift will write music for the rest of her life that everyone is like, oh my gosh, she made this song about her wedding.
Yeah.
I remember my wedding.
I agree. Cause like in any other genre, age truly matters. Like whether it's dance or house or, maybe in house, you can just get away with just no one knows what you look like. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But like for Drake, like he's now what, 36?
Yeah, it's getting tough. He just turned 36. Yeah.
He could, music is determined by the youth, specifically hip hop is. Yeah. And that person is 15 years old, 16 years old, 18. He could be their dad.
Yeah. It's a tough business.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is. Okay, well,
but he can make money forever too. Drake's gonna make money forever too.
Yeah, he's fine forever. I would love to see like, let's just say, I don't want to be morbid and talk about death. So let's say when they're both 80 years old, total gross earnings off of music solely, where does Taylor Swift and Drake stack up?
Yeah,
I have to believe Taylor Swift will be like set records that are nearly impossible to beat for decades.
Wow. I like it.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Who's your loser?
My loser is Trevor Noah.
What's he up to? There's racist stuff going on. Or what's he?
Yeah.
He got Dua Lipa.
Yeah. He did.
That was a win. Yeah.
They're dating?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, as far as the picture I saw the other day on
That's impressive.
Instagram. Yeah.
So Trevor Noah made some comments around from his show, The Daily Show, where he said that there were people saying, "Oh, now the Indians are going to take over Great Britain," meaning that like people were apprehensive or potentially racist against him being Indian and being the next prime minister of the UK. And the new prime minister fired back and said, Britain is not a racist country, and that the Downing Street, which is where he would live, is saying that that Trevor Noah is inventing the backlash and that it doesn't exist.
Jussie Smollett action, huh?
And so I actually don't even, there may be people who say that, and I believe that people do say that,
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea of just like revving people up and just constantly, because Trevor Noah is supposed to be someone that like, you know, wants peace and quiet and the like, you know, things to go well for everyone. Like, instead of like showing the bad of what is coming of this, why not highlight the fact that Great Britain did elect a person of color to run their country, especially a group that was basically, you know, it's unfathomable for an Indian person 50 years ago to think the prime minister of Great Britain would be an Indian person. And so I just think that like that attitude is just really bad. And I see it, everyone doing it all the fucking time. And I'm seeing it a lot in LA with this Rick Caruso, Karen Bass thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What people are saying every day is madness.
Like people trashing Rick Caruso, you mean?
Yeah, the way they're going about it, it's just like, dude, like, okay, you don't have to like him. You don't even have to vote for him. Yeah. But just say why Karen Bass is better. Like, we as people just don't need to always throw mud for every little thing. You could say, look, Rick, I'm not into Rick Caruso. He's not my guy. I like Karen Bass because she's going to do this and I'm going to vote for her. Cool. Go do that.
It's so weird. It's like there was so much like, I don't know. My short take is like there's so much bad stuff that does need to be highlighted. And there is racism and there is unfair practices. And that is all very true. But then there's also this like other thing where you are just complaining and like you said, like you're highlighting the negative as opposed to celebrating the positive or having constructive arguments and I don't know where that line is. It's such a blurry line between like, well, yeah, but there is racism here and we should highlight it. Or but now you're just like, 2 out of 100 people said something racist. And you're talking about that as opposed to the other people who like, it's just so messy. And I feel like it's just become a popular tactic in politics, in just day-to-day social media to just complain. Yeah. And it's a bummer. Yeah. You know, come on, Trevor. Like this is such an amazing moment.
And he's British.
And you're going to put the spotlight on the people that are racist about it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, why not look at the positive? You're from this country. Like, why shouldn't you be proud?
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't you be happy? You got Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Just go on a vacation and relax.
I know, seriously.
Okay. Well, okay, that's a great one. Mine, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Mine's just all the people that enabled Kanye over the years. I think I've been saying for a long time that like Kanye's, just seems very arrogant and behavior was ridiculous. There was actually one time at a group chat live show when I got in a sort of debate with one of our audience members about whether we should punish Kanye or not. And I also just think like this is what you get. Like to me, it kind of feels, not to like, I don't want to be ridiculous here with my comparison, but it kind of feels like someone who has a problem with like drugs or something like that. And like if you enable for so long and then it gets to this terrible, terrible place. And I do think that, yes, Kanye is the number one guy responsible for his own actions. But I do think there's a lot of people around him that said, no, that's genius. And no, that's brilliant. When they knew something seemed a little off. Yeah. And maybe no one checked him and kept him in line. And maybe sometimes people need to be cut off. Like maybe he needed to be almost like mini canceled at a way lower level. Yeah. So that this never happened because
I mean, he was when he did the Trump thing. Like if you think about what people were up in arms about then.
Yeah, but so many people covered for him. So many people, like even in the industry, called people and said, hey, just leave him alone. Like don't talk about that. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Maybe you need to like, get the slap on the wrist before you get the baseball bat to the face. At the end of the day, it's terrible what's happening to him. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying you don't want to see that happen. Kanye is a great artist, but it's all the enablers. I think that you need people in your life that can tell you to sit the fuck down, and I don't think he has that.
Agreed.
Okay. Who content recommendation for the weekend? I think it's obvious, right?
What is it?
Jake Paul.
Oh, that's this weekend?
Yeah. I'm kind of worried, actually. Anderson Silva, X.
Oh, this is the Anderson Silva. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm kind of worried about the pay-per-view buys here.
You don't think it's going to be big?
I don't. I don't think it's going to be big. I also think it's Halloween weekend. I think.
Oh, yeah.
there's a chance. I'm not mad at, I don't have anything against Jake. I think it's great what he's doing, all that. But if this fight is boring and Halloween and that stuff kind of hurts the pay-per-view guys, this could be the beginning of the end for the boxing career.
Wow.
I think if that last Tyron Woodley fight, if he wouldn't have got that clip, it's the only, like that fight was really boring and really bad and Jake didn't look good, but he got the knockout and that knockout was such a viral clip. And I think that saved the whole thing.
He'll get, I think he's good at getting the clip.
Hopefully he gets the clip. If he gets the clip, the circus continues. If not, at the end of the day, if no one's paying for your fights, there's not much of a market there.
$50?
Probably. I don't know, but it's minimum 50.
Wow.
Let me see.
My content recommendation. I haven't been able to. I just been busy. Haven't been able to watch any TV. But last night, I actually finally was home, sat down. I just go on Netflix, and I saw the lady from Emily in Paris. She had a movie on Netflix. I think it came out a few years ago called Inheritance.
Oh,
fantastic! Very dark for me to watch.
Wow,
like it was a little thriller on your seat for me. Yeah. But
it's Halloween.
I was like, it's Emily in Paris. It can't be that dark. It was dark.
It was dark. Wow. So you're just a big fan of this actress at this point.
But yeah, Lily Collins. That's her name.
Got it.
And then, I tried to watch Social Network, couldn't watch it, unwatchable. I tried to watch The Wolf of Wall Street, unwatchable.
Yeah, too dated.
They just they feel like I'm watching from another era.
Do you watch New Girl?
No.
I think you should try it. It's a show that Corinne loves, and she put me onto it. I got to be honest, I fucking love it. And there's like 8 seasons. Who's in New Girl? I don't even literally no one. Oh, the only Zooey Deschanel is the star.
Oh yeah, she's like a waitress or something.
No. She's a quirky school teacher for part of it. She's a quirky girl. It's a group of friends. They move into this loft. And
you're watching New Girl and At a Country Club. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I hate myself. I hate what I've become. They told me I would change when I moved to Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, we watch it every night before bed because it is
so this is your Seinfeld.
It is my Seinfeld. Because literally, you telling me that you watch Seinfeld every night before bed sort of influenced me years ago to find that. And I've had, Entourage was one for a while. I've had a few. Curb. But New Girl is the current one. And it's fantastic. And I go to bed in the best mood.
Yeah, I like that.
You should try it out.
Okay.
$60. You can get yourself a Jake Paul fight.
Oh.
Yep.
I need to crowdfund that.
It ain't cheap. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend. Do we get a clip or do we not? If we don't, or if somehow he loses, I'm calling beginning of the end. We're going to have to pivot to
the Fed
MMA,
pivot.
maybe.
The Fed
do
pivot.
The old Fed pivot.
Okay.
All right. That's all we got. No shout outs, right?
Nope.
Okay. Everyone have a great weekend. Keep it extra spooky. If you happen to, I'm not saying anyone will, but if by any means you end up dressing up as the group chat squad, make sure you send pics because
we'll
that. Repost them. I feel like there'll at least be one out there. Okay.
It's pretty easy one to do.
Easy to pull off. If you got a hoodie and some fucking...
If you got a hoodie and you're Indian and you got a white friend, it's pretty easy.
No brown face, please.
I'm okay with brown face.
Right,
I don't find it insulting.
Be approved.
I don't find it insulting. If you're white and you want to do brown face, you could be me.
Someone's just going to get the shit beat out of them. They're like, no, I'm D. Okay, that's it. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you later.